Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's me, your old pal Orpheus, with another edition of Orpheus Plays. Here playing Blade and Sorcery, the medieval game where you get to wreck faces and your neighbors don't worry about losing their other neighbors to a mysterious serial killer. Oh, boy. Anyway, I hope you're doing well today wherever you are, whether it's day or night, or you're about to fight a bunch of pirates. Yeah, you are a pirate, because that's what we're doing today here on Orpheus Plays. I've got a mod that brings out pirate waves, right? There's like, it's like, so you can do a 1-on-1, 1v3, 1v5, and they're pirates that come out, and you got to fight them, and right? And then they'll have, like, the pirate cutlass and everything. So let's get that started. We're going to start with, I don't know. Let's start it simple with a 1v2. And it's pirates. You are a pirate. Anyway, it's another good day for murder and mayhem. Let's do our first traditional slow motion kill of the day with a pot. Oh, bro. Wrecked. Oh, yeah. Look, kids, pot can kill you. Anyway, let's get the little cutlass going here. Little pirate sword. Oh, bro. Hey, whoa, back off. What? Can I take your pirate hat? I'm wondering if I can. Yeah? We're having a good... Ow! My turn. Bastard. Little pirate battle going on here. Double wielding the cutlasses. Okay. If you haven't noticed, I'm also I'm running a little faster and I'm jumping a little higher. I've got my superhero mod, or the superhuman mod, turned on. This one seems right now to only be available on the Quest 2 port, on the Nomad version of Blade and Sorcery. And boy, that modding system, oof, man. Having that built into the game now is incredible. I love it, because you can just, instead of going and doing a whole bunch of steps, right, you can do just silly stuff all the time. Where's my weapons? Do I not have any? Oh my god, I don't have any weapons. Hey, Mjolnir, help me out, bro. Mjolnir versus pirates, the crossover we all wanted. Pirates of the Avenger being. Oh my god. Oh Jesus, she's gone. Here, you want to join her? Wow. So that's what it's like when Captain America has Thor's hammer. One slow motion one for you. Oh, good god. She's now in space. Let's do this right there, right against the wall. What? Okay. Wow, that's weird. Anyway, what are we going to talk about today? I did an episode just the other day on OnlyFans, right? How, OnlyFans is getting ridiculous because, okay, this is a little too overpowered. Because OnlyFans is getting, everyone has an OnlyFans page, right? Well, not everybody, but, it seems like just about everybody has an OnlyFans page. And I was just, I was thinking about that, and it reminded me that I've been around in my life, and you're saying to yourself, well, what does that mean? Would you back off? Jeez, hold on, let me get a little bit of privacy here real quick. Ha! Oh, they died together in each other's arms, Romeo and Juliet. Let me get a sickle. I'm gonna dual wield sickles here. We'll do this for now. But so it got me thinking, when I was growing up, I traveled a lot, okay? When I say I traveled a lot, I've probably been to every continent, I think. Have I been to every continent? No, I haven't been to Australia, but I've been everywhere else. I've been to most major cities in the world, too. And this was all, before I was, 20, right? Look, when we're talking frequent flyer miles, legit, I could have at some point traveled anywhere I wanted to in the world, round trip, first class with the amount of miles I had, and probably do that about once every other year with as many as I earned. But the point is, there were some times that I was traveling with tour groups, sometimes that I was traveling with a choir or something like that, a musical group, because I toured Europe a few times. Arms gone! I traveled with a music group a couple of times through Europe as well, professionally, not just, the college kind of thing, but I did that. Geez. 2 and 1. How you like me now? Nope, not you. But I did that a couple times But then there were other times that I was just like either traveling with my dad for business stuff, right? Or there was one time I just traveled by myself a little bit. I had a little opportunity. It was between trips, I think, and I got a chance to just kind of tool around in, where was I? I think it was in London. Yeah, that was in London. So this one time I was in, where was I? I was in Amsterdam. Yeah, I was in Amsterdam. That's right. And if you don't know that much about Amsterdam, there's probably one thing you know about Amsterdam. There's probably one thing you know about Amsterdam, and that is that it has legal cannabis. Okay, so there's cannabis cafes where you go and you can have edibles, and they'll bring you a menu that has like buds stapled into it that you can like choose the kind of bud you want and everything, and they'll bring you a hookah or roll a joint for you or something like that. Nope, my turn. And you know, that real cool, laid-back experience. Well, what you might not know about Amsterdam is they have a very thriving sex worker industry. Let's just kind of saw it off. No? Okay. But they have a very thriving sex worker industry, as do many places in Europe. Most places in the world actually have some sort of thriving industry. It's the oldest profession, folks, you know? So I was in Amsterdam, and I noticed that there was a red light district. I was just kind of, you know, tooling around. I think I was very herbally enhanced that time. I was walking around the city, and I was doing that stuff, you know. You can go where the tour groups go, and you can go to all the major tourist centers, but that's not the fun places to go, right? Wherever you go in the world, it's always good to just find somewhere off the beaten path, right? If you're staying at a hotel, everybody in town knows where that hotel is, right? So they'll be able to get you back to it. But just wander, right? Wander around the back streets, not like, you know, don't go looking to be saved by Batman or any kind of that situation, but, you know, find places that are out of the way. Go to the restaurants that the locals eat at, right? The places that aren't full of tourists that have cameras and gaudy clothing. Go somewhere where the local people go. Well, speaking of that, I'm walking along, and I see this part of the city that's got like, how do you explain it? It's like there's like a little wall. So it's like it's an alley, and there's like walls that come in, and then separated from that is another wall right here, so you got to kind of walk around in order to get back into the alley. All right, so I'm like, what's this? Because it was actually lit up with, like, you know, red lights and everything, and I'm like, could this be a red light district? I was making the joke to myself, right? I'm like, ooh, it's a red light district, Orpheus, ooh, right? And there was Dutch. Is it Dutch that they speak? Yeah, it's Dutch. There was Dutch on some signs. I didn't know what it said, so I was like, you know, hey, let's have a little exploration fest. So I go around and I go in there, and it's like, oh, okay, this is a red light district. And here you go. Here's, in case you're wondering what these are actually like, at least when I was there. So it was like a bunch of, it was almost like a bunch of stores, right? So you got like window shopping kind of thing. So there was like 5 or 6 buildings in that area. Ooh, headshot, bro. 5 or 6 buildings lining this street, and there were big windows in each of the front of the buildings, and in each of those windows was a little tiny other window that was on hinges, right? Jeez. One at a time, folks. It was a little window that was like on hinges, and so, you know, you could open it inwards. And there was like, you know, 3 or 4 of those at each window, each big window. And behind each of those windows was someone sitting on a bar stool or a chair, right? And so what you do is you walk up, you find the one that you have a preference for, and there was everything. There's guys, gals, gender fluid people. Yes, we had those back then. Yes, they were very accepted in other parts of the world, trust me. And so we had, all sorts of selections, redheads, blondes, brunettes, everything. Just perfect, right? Anything you wanted up and down there. If that's your thing, right? so I was like just kind of perusing, and I'm walking along, and if you slow down too much in front of one of the windows, they'll open it up, and it's like, hey, what would you like to have happen today? It's like, no, right? I was like, no, I'm okay. Just looking, just window shopping, madam. No, don't worry about. No, sir, you're very attractive, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm just a tourist, right? Well, so I'd watch other people that would come up. And so what you do is you walk up to the one you like, a little scissor action. You walk up to the one you like, they open the door, and then you kind of negotiate what you're looking for. And then so when you figure that out, she goes back, and there's like in between the buildings, there's a little alley in there. Take that, bro. And you go in and do your thing, right? Okay. So that was that was scary, right? I think I was 17 or 18 at that point, and I was like, oh God, this is kind of daunting, right? I think, had I lost my V card at that point? I don't even remember. I think I had, but it's not like I was, Mr. Suave experienced, girls were still kind of scary to me. The whole idea of relationships is like, I don't know. So that was that experience. I saw it. I got to see what it was like. I got scared by it, and then I just kind of went about my business, went about the trip and all that. Okay, file that away as experience. Yay. So a couple of years later, I'm on a business trip with my dad, and what was it, Frankfurt? I can't remember, because there's a little part of Germany called St. Pauli. And yes, it's like the beer, St. Pauli girl beer. The girl that's on the front of that, who's wearing that traditional German Oompa girl kind of thing with the, the lift up kind of thing going on. Anyway, St. Pauli is an actual place. St. Pauli is an actual place in Germany it's entirely like a red light district. So I was like, I know what this thing, I know what this is all about. I saw one of these a couple years ago, right? So I'm like, I'm going to search this place out. I'm like, I'm feeling bold, man. I want to get some freak on, right? I'm going to do all there is to do in Europe, and I'm going to be the continental man who's experienced all the things, right? No, stay with me. Don't jump ahead in this story. Don't hold on. Shut up. Okay, so I go and I find one of the areas that is, the actual place where you'd go to find the sex workers. And so it's essentially, it was the same setup. It was, an alleyway with the windows, and it's like, you got one big window with smaller ones in it where you can find your preference and negotiate and all that. And so I'm walking along, and believe me, my sexuality was very open, still is, right? I'm very tolerant of, there's beauty in everything, folks. You just find something that's attractive to you, and there you go. I've always said if Antonio Banderas showed up, I'd have a little bit of trouble. Anyway, but that's neither here nor there. So I was like, I'll peruse the selections. There were some attractive people there of all genders and persuasions and everything. And I'm like, just kind of searching along. And I'm like, well, which one is going to be attractive to me? And as I'm standing there, one of the windows that I was near was this older lady. She had to be in her mid to late 50s, very visibly aged, like someone that had kind of a rough service life, you know what I'm saying? Right? Looked very experienced, very pleasant looking, very attractive, right? Just a beautiful woman, but just, had some miles on her, right? And so I'm like, I was standing there for a little bit too long, and she opens up the window and she's like, hey, and she spoke English, right? I mean, it's beneficial to the business if you speak multiple languages, so she says, hey, how you doing? Are you interested in having a good time? And I'm like, I think so. Right? And she's like, step a little closer, we'll talk it over. And so, it wasn't this high up. It was more like, this is where I was at, right? So the window would be like, the bigger one was like here. And so you could like see them right here. And so we start talking, and it's like, she's like, well, what are you looking to experience today? And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm kind of new at this whole thing. I'm like, what are some of the prices for things, right? And she goes over some of the prices for the different, it wasn't like, and now I'll give you a BJ for $40 or anything. No, it was a lot more, tasteful than that, because those industries are very regulated in other parts of the world. Kind of like in Nevada, anywhere but Las Vegas, right? Essentially, it's legalized, but it's also regulated. There's health tests, and there's certifications and everything you got to go through. You can't just be a freelancer and stuff like that. Okay, same thing in Europe, except it's way more strict. At least for the girls, right? They have to, or the workers, they have to get tested all the time. They have to fill out forms and maintain licenses and everything. They work for a licensed facility. So it was like, a lot more tasteful. It wasn't like, a street hooker. You're going to be like, hey, baby, I'm looking for this in the backseat of my car. No, it was nothing like that. So we're talking, and I'm like, I haven't chosen anything yet, right? And I'm like, I'm just kind of uncomfortable choosing something, right? Ooh, wow. This is like a medieval execution going on here. So I'm like, I don't really know what to choose, right? And I said, to be honest, I'm really nervous. And I don't know. And she's like starting to get a little fidgety and stuff. And I'm like, so what would be the time if I, how much would it be if I just want to sit with you for a little bit and we kind of let it go from there, right? And she quotes me a price, for, I think it was an hour, right? And I'm like, okay, well, how about this? How'd you like to go with me to a cafe and have a cup of coffee? Right? And she kind of looked at me like, that's not really what the time is for, right? So she's looking at me a little cockeyed, like, what, seriously? And I'm like, yeah, I'll pay the hourly rate. Do you want to just go get a cup of coffee and just talk for a while? And she's like, what? Do you want that to be a lead up for something? And I'm like, I don't know. I thought I'd just, sit down and have a coffee date with you. And so... And so, I handed her the money, and she closes the window and locks it. She comes around and comes out, and we go on a date. It wasn't, like a date. We weren't snuggling or anything, but it was had a cup of coffee at a local place, had some biscuits and everything, and just talked. And I found out about her life, the way that she was brought up, and her family was very conservative and was very controlling. And she never felt like she was a person that was worth anything. And so she went and started doing this work, and it's given her confidence and everything. It's learning her whole life story. And it was amazing because I just got to know an interesting person. It's more important to me in life. And I've always maintained this. It's more important for me in life to gain knowledge than it is experiences. Right. So if I have a choice between being with a sex worker or having coffee with one and just having a cool conversation, I'm going to choose the latter, right? Because it's something that is more interesting to me. And it ended up being this incredible experience because I got to know someone completely different than myself, a completely different society, a completely different culture. And it turns out, you know what, folks? We're not all that different. No matter where you are in the world, no matter what culture you come from, human needs are pretty much the same, man. People just want companionship and respect and love, and they want to be able to be happy and successful. And some people just choose different jobs, man. I have so much respect for people that do that for a living because they don't get any... it's still derogatory to call someone a prostitute or porn star, right? You say porn star and people get all, oh, it's called sex worker now. Well, yeah, but there's always this hidden level of respect from society, from the beginning of time until now, where it's we realize that there's people that make money that way, and that's their life, Get off my sword, gross. And so, that's how I've learned. And being, someone that has traveled the world has allowed me to, right? It's like having toilet paper stuck to your foot. except it's a sword. Nice. I'll take you out of that little experience there. But it's something that I've learned from traveling the world, that so many people are so different, but we all have the same base needs, the same base desires and loves and hates and everything like that. We just go through the world with different filters. Anyway, we'll see you next time here on Orpheus Plays. That's the story of the times that I almost got myself a little bit of pay for play, but ended up instead going on a coffee date. And it was, I think, a better experience. Anyway, we'll see you next time here on Orpheus Plays. I'm going to keep being a pirate for a little while and just slash some booty. Arr! And we'll see you on the next edition of Orpheus Plays, here playing Blade and Sorcery or whatever else I'm going to play. All right, see you later. Bye!